Hi everyone. My name is Yana, and I'm a Googleologist. I specialize in bringing targeted audiences to businesses with the exact parameters they need. I also scale online sales for various online stores in different countries around the world, mainly using Google Ads AI tools. So, why Google Ads AI tools? Let me make a quick note or add a little comment here, because you have to keep up with the trends, not just because it's fashionable, but because you either join these AI trends or, as I like to say, you end up stuck in the old ways. The era when I still considered myself old-fashioned has passed, so now we're trying to work with AI to teach it to generate the right results. This is exactly what all those cool folks are promoting now, building AI personas, AI agents, and so on. So basically, we're teaching the AI in your advertising accounts to generate the right results you need, with the right achievements, steady growth, and more. In today's video, I'll also be showing a team case. I'll break it down a bit. Right now, this is one of the intermediate periods while we're running ads, and here I'm showing you the current situation. I want to show it to you completely honestly. Should I say that this is a super duper successful case? I'll put it this way. This is a case where a client comes in with amazing numbers, but then it turns out those numbers were made up, drawn in, they don't actually exist, and you basically have to double their real effectiveness. I'm going to explain and show everything now. The niche we're dealing with, let's put it this way, is clothing, accessories, all that stuff. We actually have a huge variety of products here, lots of different brands, and a very diverse average check. So, basically, there's plenty to work with here. As for the target KPIs, we had some really interesting ones. Basically, at first the client said they wanted 20,000. Now the enumeration is hexadecimal. I'm showing you the period with the 16,000 target. I'm even showing you the seasonal period. Here you go, just so you don't think I'm only showing you super successful cases. What did I want to demonstrate here? I want to show you what kind of issues a client might come with, what problems they might have, and that the real point we're at right now is the result of consistent discipline and ongoing effort by a specific team working on the advertising account. That this wasn't just drawn up like this, that it's not because of seasonality, that it's not due to, I don't know, some random coincidences, or some fluke, or whatever else people might come up with. To show this, I'll show you a very long period of time. We started working, I can even tell you, the first date when we began making changes was the 7th of March. Oh, God, the 7th of March. No, the 7th of November. I'll even explain why that was. Well, for example, I'll take July, just so we don't get stuck here for too long, let's say, for example, March 8th. Look, I specifically pulled up purchases and conversion value cost for you here. And it seems that right here, this is where we started working, and we actually did worse than what the client wanted. We did worse. But, and you forgot. Let me remind you in this example that, well, you didn't even know, right? That actually, these numbers we see here are a bit inflated, and even here they're inflated. So, what you're seeing, profitability of 10.68, and even the number of conversions, there are actually several times fewer of them in reality. You might say, well, Yana, anyone could say that it was supposedly better here, and that it's worse for you here. And you're just making excuses, saying that this is cooler. No, but I actually have proof, so to speak. Look, what was the problem here? What did the client come with? The client came with the issue that, in reality, the advertising isn't paying off, meaning it really isn't delivering the desired results. Thank God they have a good marketer who actually takes a more systematic and comprehensive approach to analyzing the whole chain of situations. I'm not going to go into the details or anything like that. I just want to show you the analytics. For July, that same month. Where do we have it here? Here, July, right. And August as well. Look at what the picture looks like. We have 4 clicks on an unknown item ID with 0 spend and 100 conversions in a month. We have, for example, 15 clicks, but 37 conversions. And this is something that's really obvious, right? Because the number of clicks is much lower than the number of conversions. But imagine that all these conversions are actually scattered all over the place here. That's why I said that the real number of conversions is actually much lower. How much lower? Well, God only knows. It's really hard to calculate when your dashboard says one thing, organic traffic says another, Facebook and targeting say something else, and in the CRM the actual numbers are much lower. So, it's really hard to figure out, especially since the analytics are basically just drawn up in the fourth analytics system. We can take the same August, which, for example, looks great here. Well, look, honestly, there's nothing to complain about here, even September. Let's say, for example, even if we take September here, it looks great. Too, you could even call it a kind of seasonal month. And we can see that the situation even gets worse from 5 clicks to 156 conversions. And that's just for September 24th. Well, okay, maybe that could be real here. But here, for example, there are 82 conversions. So, in reality, we're seeing a situation where the number of conversions doesn't match what's actually happening, and even the return on investment of 1442 is nowhere near accurate, because a lot of these conversions just aren't real. Here, we're taking a period that's very painful for the client, waiting it out to see the analytics that are actually relevant to us. So basically, we're waiting out this week. Well, maybe a bit longer, but we definitely waited at least 7 days to see the real state of things, to understand what we'll actually have to start from. I mean, come on, where's 9? And where's 16 or 20, right? So, basically, we need to improve by at least 2 times, minimum. And on top of that, the client said, I'd like it if you didn't drop in the number of conversions. And that, excuse me, is a task with 2 extra stars. Why? Because, in reality, these 2 strategies are actually a bit competitive with each other. So, guys, maintaining the number of units, or increasing them is a strategy that implies, or rather, it involves, either showing ads more frequently, which leads to more traffic generation, or entering a larger number of diverse and various auctions. And keep in mind that we also have product seasonality here, right? Some products are already out of season, while for others, the season is just starting. Different brands, categories, there's a whole mix of things happening at the same time. So we need to figure out which auctions to enter more effectively and more often, and maybe even try out new auctions. In other words, this is a major challenge. And this whole strategy of scaling or maintaining conversions basically doesn't take profitability into account at all. Well, that's how Google's manual describes it, and basically that's how all their ad campaigns work. You can even talk to Google reps about it. You can also attend Marketing Lit in May, where all of this is discussed as well. But increasing profitability, or even just achieving profitability, is a conflicting strategy to this, because we need to somehow limit all these auctions and other factors. How do we limit them? By setting criteria for the AI, telling it that we only want users with a certain likelihood to purchase. But there are a lot of products, a lot of categories, and a lot of different seasons. In short, it really is a 3 or 4-star level problem. Did we manage to do it right away? Well, you can see that. In this November we started to improve things, and it's starting to get a bit better. I wouldn't say that we immediately hit 16 or 20 here. Keep in mind, this is the average profitability, meaning that sometimes it was lower, sometimes the profitability was quite high, because we constantly have to keep running campaign tests, so that we can keep entering different auctions and, so to speak, feed our AI with new, fresh data. Yes, there are periods that aren't super hyped, but I think this result is definitely worth paying attention to. If I take, say, 30 days, excuse me, here it's 16, even during the sales season, people tell me, oh, these cases are just made up, the profitability is too high. Only fools can't achieve high profitability. Excuse me. Well, yeah, okay. Here, in our attribution model, the main data, what I really hate about it, is the delay in conversion reporting. That's definitely there. That's, like, an undeniable fact. I can even show you where to look for this in your accounts if you're using this attribution model. But, excuse me, the number of items we have is there, it exists. In fact, over this whole period, it's actually started to increase. So, let's put it this way. Just so you have weekly Analytics, here, weekly. You can see that in this period, we also have it. It's going just fine. At the same time, our profitability isn't dropping significantly. It's staying steady, even increasing. So, I think that this case might not be the most super-duper successful one. I mean, it's not some huge success where we just did something amazing in no time, because this is part of a much larger block of work, but it's there. And now, over the past 30 days, we no longer have that situation where there's an unbelievable number of clicks, and the conversions are somehow off. In other words, there isn't a single click here where the conversions would be incorrect. Yes, in reality, this attribution model counts significantly fewer of these conversions than there actually are. Because, get this, in large projects, Google really likes to hide expenses. All these partial conversions are honestly really tough to deal with. And Google makes it really hard for you to count them. You can't just brute force it. Look, the difference between a big project and a small one is that a big project can get a pretty large number of product clicks in a single day. And in reality, you should be selling some products every day. So if we just take our breakdown by day, I'm just showing you the item IDs there. And here, for example, let me show you a filter. Let's say less than. Let's do 0.99, okay? 0.90. Yeah, 0. Alt. 90. What's going on? 0.90. I have the English keyboard layout on. Offline. Look here. Let me show you now. This is honestly the biggest pain. So let's look at the costs. So you can understand the scale. 0.20, 0.66, 0.11, 0.38, 0.1. So, for this product, roughly 648 hryvnias were spent. Here it's 0.1, 0.98. And all these fractions don't mean that at some point you'll add up another 0.8 and get a full sale. No, this means that this click on this product influenced the sale of this or another product by 22%. So basically, it's a dumb strategy. In reality, there could be a whole sale here, and that sale was actually earned by Google itself. Because, for example, another channel leading to the conversion could be branded organic search. So, for instance, someone browsed around, came in through us, looked around, then typed the brand into organic search, came in, and made a purchase. So how can you attribute 0.8 to organic here when all the heavy lifting was actually done by Google Ads? Basically, that's what I don't like about this attribution model. So, most likely, we're now going to gradually try to move away from it and switch as much as possible to the format of, this. God, what's the right way to call it? Combined strategy options, where part of our campaigns use the last click attribution model and part are data-driven. Yeah, that's also possible. You can run several purchase conversions in parallel and test them. This is kind of an intermediate option, not the most successful, but I think, the result here is actually pretty good, considering that the profitability was even lower there and the number of conversions was really smaller. I think it's actually quite successful, considering that even the client, from a target of 20, let us lower the KPI to 16, so to speak. I believe that. In general, this is a pretty good indicator. When recalculating the sales volume options, the client sees that they are actually paying off.